Welcome to the playback.
Welcome to the playback. All right.
The playback.
The playback.
What's up, everybody? It's a special day, of course, for the Playback podcast and radio show. Be sure y'all tune in every time we put something out there because you don't know who we going to have on here. We got a lot of special guests going on all the time with this event planning. And you know what? I'm just going to bring these beautiful ladies on. The first beautiful lady I want to bring on right now is Tasha Woodard. How you doing, Tasha?
Hey, good morning. How are you today?
I am great as usual. I'm hoping that you and the rest of the team are feeling good today because we need that energy. We need that energy. Bring it in. You know what
We
I'm
always
saying?
got that energy.
Absolutely.
It lives in us, so we always got it.
Absolutely. So now I want to bring on the lovely Naomi G. How you doing, Naomi?
Good. How are you? Hey,
Oh,
team.
I'm way better now. I got two of the loveliest ladies in the world on my time right now. That's beautiful, beautiful.
You
So
need
how's
one more?
everything? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Without further ado, the segue is on. Miss Rosa Fox, how you doing today?
Hey, what's going on, y'all?
It's going on. The playback is going on, man.
Playback, that's what it is.
World, if y'all see these three ladies right now, I don't need to be on here no more. I could fade to black right now. But we got some more guys. I gotta even out the score right now. So I gotta add the guys to the playback radio show and podcast as well. John Cunningham, how you doing, sir?
All right. Well, I don't look as good as Tasha or Rosa or Naomi, but I'm here.
Hey, you're
I'm
schmexy.
working on it though.
You're schmexy, John. You're schmexy. But without further ado, my man Austin, what up, all? How you doing, brother? Uh-oh.
You're muted.
Uh-oh.
How are you?
There you
Yeah.
go. There we go. Last time we did this, you did that same thing, and man, you was throwing up gang signs and all. I was like, hold up, wait a minute. Stop that,
No
man.
gang signs. I'm a businessman now. So,
All right. So we're gonna do some business today.
why not? Let's do it.
You sure?
Oh, of course.
Hey, don't talk about that food no more from the Clarion. I'm coming out there today.
Oh
I'm
man, the
coming out
breakfast
there.
was delicious, bro.
Hey,
Waffles was nice and fluffy.
hey, I'm gonna get you for that one. I'm gonna get you for that one.
We'll have the after
Hey,
party.
Tasha, I think Tasha got something to say, man. Let's go.
I don't got nothing to say. I'm just wondering what the heck y'all talk about the Clarion. I'm hungry and y'all talk about food. I mean,
Home of the waffles.
Well, I had pancakes this morning from IHOP.
Oh, lucky girl. We love IHOP.
Yeah.
Over here, we go all the time. What did you get? Just pancakes and what?
Pancakes, protein pancakes.
Oh, okay.
Gotta get that breakfast of champions in.
Right.
So good morning. Thanks for everyone being here today. I'm excited for today's show. So I hope
I
you all are
definitely
too.
am as well.
Yeah. Where's the guys that they?
Y'all need to bring these guys on, man. Please
Oh,
introduce
I didn't
them.
know you were setting us up for that. All right. Well then.
Oh, is that what we were doing?
Yeah.
Without further ado, come on.
Y'all was about to have a whole conversation without the guys in the background. They waiting
I
on the
know.
back.
I'm
Oh, my
excited.
bad. I got it. All right. So we are really excited. We have a great show lined up for y'all today. We have one-time management, and we also have multi-platinum producer TBerry, which is such a treat. We are so excited. We can run down the list of TBerry's credits, which includes the likes of Trick Daddy and excuse me.
We got Rick Ross,
Trick Daddy. I see Trina. We got DJ Khaled. I mean, the list just goes on and on. So thank you for being with us today, and everybody give him and also One Time Management a nice warm welcome.
Yes.
All
Right.
right.
Yes.
Yo,
TBerry.
what's
Yeah.
happening? What's
Yes.
happening? What's
T-Berry, it's an
happening?
honor and a privilege, brother.
Welcome to the
Man, I'm glad
playback.
to be here, man. Thank you for bringing me on.
No doubt. No
All
doubt.
right. Well, we want to get started. So I know JC probably gave you the rundown. Thank you, JC, for having these gentlemen on with us today, for coordinating this. But what we do here is we talk about your accomplishments and where you've been and also where you're going. So we want to just kind of reminisce with you on the past and what you've done and make it a little bit fun and have a little bit of fun with it. So to start that off, and
Okay.
with that being said, could you just tell us how you got your start in the music industry? Where did your love for music start?
Well, my mom was a well-known singer back home in Miami, and it all started there. Like most people, it started in church, singing in church, playing, trying to play the piano, just trying to do a bunch of stuff. The dudes and in church that we all grew up with. So we all had aspirations of being in the music business. So I started DJing. I was like a DJ. And then I played saxophone in junior high, throughout high school. Played football, basketball in high school. Went to college, played a little ball. But music was always a passion and a love for me. So coming home from college, I grew up in South Miami, Coconut Grove, Liberty City, Overtown. Trick Daddy and I are from the same area of down south. And then my mom's family was from the north side. So, it was just a matter of just running into all the right people. My uncles were all in a well-known cover band, so I used to sneak into the warehouses and watch them rehearse. And then a well-known DJ from our neighborhood, who my dad taught, because my dad was an educator. So a guy by the name of Tiny Head. And if you ever hear Uncle Luke speak, he always talks about Tiny Head. So Tiny Head was a
Mm.
well-known DJ, and so just me, just as a youngster, just running around, going all of the jams, going all of the clubs, pack jam with Uncle Luke. I used to sneak into there's a club called Club Manhattan, and me and my boys used to sneak into it because our defensive line coach was a bodyguard, a bouncer at the club, so he let us sneak in. We were all underage, but Uncle Luke used to have a college night on Sunday. So where I grew up across the street from the University of Miami. So Uncle
Yeah.
Luke used to have a college night, and this particular night he bought Beatmaster Clay D. Clay D is like one of the well-known Florida Southern musicians, producers that used to produce a lot of stuff for Two Live Crew. So
Right.
I watched him play the SB12 drum machine, and man, that's what I knew I wanted to do. So fast forward, when I got out of college, I taught school a little bit, but I just started messing around with the music, and I just moved around all over Florida, just linking up with people. And one day, some people heard. Well, Uncle Luke actually saw me at Martin Luther King parade and was like, "Man, I just put out a couple of records on some people." One of the people he put a record out on was a song called "Lollipop." If you go back and listen to it,
Yep.
Pitbull was on that record. So Pitbull, my little brother, I coached both of them in high school, but Pitbull was not even rapping until the 12th grade. He wanted to be a basketball player. So Pitt used to call me. He was like, "Coach, I want to come to your studio." And I was like, "For what, man?" He wasn't even Pitbull. We just called him Chris. He was Chris. And he came to my studio I had in my condo. And I ain't gonna lie to you, the first time I heard him rap, I had to like open the closet. I had a little closet built like a booth, and I opened it, and I had to make sure it was still him. Because I was like, man, this little Chico gonna be live. And fast forward like 4 years after that, Lil John them picked him up, TVT. You remember TVT had Little John,
Yeah.
Pitbull, China
Mhm.
White, Ying Yang Twins, Bo Hagen. So when TVT folded, Pitbull comes back to Miami, and he's doing the Welcome to My Hood with Khaled and everybody.
Yeah.
And I seen him, and I was like, bro, you're on the right path, man. I say, I know you grew up in the hood, but you speak Spanish, you Cuban. I say, bro, you once you turn that on, it's a go. And that's
Yes.
what happened. He turned it on, man. He became Mr. International. So the down to earth cat. A lot of people have their stories, but I've been knowing Pitt since he was in the ninth grade, and he's been exactly who he is, man. He's always been one of those artists. He doesn't forget where he comes from. and it just spawned from there. And then everyone just started pointing me towards Slip and Slide, and I had a meeting with Trick Daddy's brother Chuck, who was his manager at the time, and they was like, "Hey man, we got a few things working over here at Slip and Slide." Trick had started the new label Dunk Riders, so I got signed to Dunk Riders to produce Iceberg, Suit, Trick. It's a bunch of great artists on Dunk Riders, but they wind up giving a few of my tracks to this new artist, and I had never heard the artist before, and then they let me hear some of his music, and I was like, I don't know, maybe it's the wrong kind of beats they rapping on. They giving him to rap on. So I
Right.
did like some tracks and I sung some hooks, and lo and behold, that rapper happened to be Pliers. So
That's
Mm.
what's up.
so I started doing stuff with Pliers, and then Ross had just got signed to Def Jam. I
Mm-hmm.
wound up doing a couple of things with Ross, and then things just started to escalate from there. My contract and the situation, it had its bumps and bruises. I learned from them, but I didn't let it stop me. Maybe like 4 years after my slip and slide, 10 years after I worked at Slip and Slide for about 4 years, I moved to Tallahassee. Was working with T Pain's older brother Rashid. Rest in peace to Rashid. He passed away.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Nappy Head Boys, and just working with everybody in Tallahassee. Just working with a bunch of people, and TJ's DJs was like one of the biggest things happening in the South region at the time. And he had a TJ's DJs meeting, and a bunch of cats from Texas came down. I remember Billy Cook. It was a bunch of cats coming. It was like, "Hey man, we'll pay for some beats if you come to Houston." And I was like, "All right." And I loaded up my car, all my equipment. I drove to Houston. Wound up linking up with Mr. J Prince.
Yep.
Uh, Linking up with a bunch of rappers in Houston, man. Houston had always been on the radar for Florida because it was even though DJ Screw was big in Texas. It just trickled down a little bit in Miami because the
Mm-hmm.
University of Miami had a bunch of Houston athletes, had a bunch of Houston football players, and so
Mhm.
they would bring the screw tapes down. And then we started catching on. And then you go to Specs or Peaches Records, and you find DJ Screw's 3 in the morning and his different screw tapes. So when I got to Houston, it was dope because I kind of fit right in. Um, did some stuff with Rap a Lot, and then one day, Beyonce's dad reached out to another rep that I had knew that was from Sony, and he asked me to come by their compound. And he sat down with me. This is probably around about 2012, 13. And he
Mm-hmm.
was like, "Look, I got one more push in me, man. I got a girl group I want to develop. I have some unreleased, so some people remember, but a lot of people don't know that when Destiny's Child first came out, they weren't Destiny's Child.
Mm-mm.
If you go back and Google Star Search, they were on this show called Star Search back in the day,
I
Yeah.
remember
as
Star Search.
as they were on the group, they were on that show as Girls Time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
So yeah, exactly. So it was about 8 of them. So that Girls Time is what started it all. All of them are in there from Beyonce, Michelle. I think no, I don't think Michelle was there. It's Beyonce, Kelly, and all of the other girls who wind up making he cut them down from 8 to 5 to 4, and then to 3. And
Right.
Latoya Luckett was in that group as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I went over to the Music World compound, which was downtown Houston. Crazy big. It was like an entire. I don't know if you guys ever been to it, Music World in Houston. It was
Mm-hmm.
like one of the
Huge.
last of the like independent. But it was major. Where it had a Mr. No's office was in the Rice Mansion, was like 3 stories, and then you had the House of Darion, which was an event and club center, and then the Music World Studios is which is what I ran. So in running that, I wind up just it's Beyonce's dad, so you just figure like the only thing he ever had to do was put out Destiny's Child and then his daughter Solange and Beyonce. But
Yeah.
I go in there and I find out like he managed Nas. He managed so many people. Nas, you got to remember. So y'all remember the show Sunday's Best with Kirk Franklin?
Yes. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
All of those songs were through him in Music World. They were on his label. All of this
Wow.
on there. Selena Johnson, she got the Grammy for a gospel album. She was
Yep.
signed to Music World. People, I'm there and I'm seeing like Mario used to be there. I didn't know that he managed Mario.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I didn't
Who
either.
else was there? Ray J.
Yeah.
Ray
I was
J.
gonna say Ray J. Yep.
Yeah. So it was so many people that he had a hand in. And then as I just started working with him closely and learning, because at that point, you got to remember, as a record mogul, there was no one bigger than him and what he was doing for Destiny's Child and Beyonce and Solange and everything in music world. Like he was really on top of it. And so I just learned a lot. So then he introduced me to this guy by the name of Harvey Mason Jr., which was part of a production team that I grew up listening to called the Underdogs.
Yeah, the
They were the product.
underdogs.
They produced everything from Bobby Brown, Whitney
Yep.
Houston, everything that was basically over at J Records.
Hmm.
And so y'all remember there was a movie called Four Color Girls.
Hmm.
Yeah,
A lot of
yes.
people didn't know that that was Mr. Knowles and Harvey Mason Jr.'s project.
Okay.
And
Hmm.
then the other movie, I can't remember the other movie that had Cuban Gorda Jr. in it. Cuba and Solange was in this movie. I forget the name of it. It was kind of like a churchy movie as
I
well.
know that. I know what movie you're talking about. I can't remember.
Yeah, so that was another one of his. So a lot of times people forget, like it wasn't just Destiny's Child, Beyonce, and Solange. Like he had his hand in a bunch of stuff. So I just learned from that. Took off when he introduced me to Harvey Mason. Harvey uh was he was a big part of the LA scene. This
Hmm.
particular year, I go to visit him in LA, and you can go. So the lady who was head of the Grammy Association, she got in some kind of scandal or something. And that year they had made Harvey the interim president of the Grammy Association. So I go out there to meet him, and he hit me back. He was like, I say, bro, I already see it. We don't have time to go, because we're supposed to go in the studio and start cooking up some music. And I say, man, I see. I said, first of all, congratulations, you're president of the Grammys now. But he got thrusted into that real quick. So, but he made sure that, hey, man, once I get things kind of squared away, you and I sit down and chop it up. So I just wound up going to LA, mingling with people, just meeting people, and going to LA. I wound up running into, I forget who the young lady's name, but no, it was a guy. And out of the blue, he was like, "Hey, we need some music for some of these reality shows." And I was like, "Okay, what kind of music?" And he was like, "Man, we just need like some R&B and hip hop stuff." And I said, "Well, what shows are?" And he was like, "Real Housewives, Love and Hip Hop. There's another show called The Shaws of Sunset, which was a dope show. What else? Bad Girls Club, Catfish, Washington Heights. So it was a bunch of just shows he threw at me. And I was like, okay, cool. However y'all need me to do it. I've never done sync before, and that was
Right.
my first time doing sync music. So I didn't know what I was doing. I was just He said, "Look, man, I need, like, don't even worry about giving me like your best like stuff you would give Rick Ross or anybody. Just give me like some of your old stuff." And I was like, "All right, cool." So I gave him like 80 tracks, and they picked like 42 of them,
Oh
and
wow.
and it got put on a bunch of shows. So then I mean I had to go back and watch a bunch of reality shows because didn't want to get a check and didn't know what shows it was on. Somebody run to you like, "Hey, man, heard did you look at the show with your song on it?" And I'd be like, "No, I didn't." And so I would have to just go back. I had to go back when I was in LA. As soon as I get in LA, I turn my TV on and I go to the streaming networks and I'd go listen, watch shows I've never thought about watching. Like I never watched Washington Heights, but I had to go listen to it because I wanted to hear what my music was. So that just spawned into me just getting a little bit more in depth in the industry, continuing to work with Mr. Knowles. I did some more projects and remixes for him. We then moved everything to LA completely, and then the pandemic hit and that kind of slowed
Yeah.
everything down.
Hmm.
But just the things that came out of that was just me being in LA and working and mingling with people. Going to, I ain't gonna lie to you, LA is one of those towns, like if someone sees you two times and like in an event, they gonna know what you're doing. Like, what do you do? I've seen you twice now out here. What do you do? And then that's the thing about LA, if they see you twice and they figure out that you're somebody that we need, they'll cut a check. I ain't gonna lie, but they got to know that you out there really working. You feel me? So I
Mhm.
just
Wow.
in
Yeah.
between LA and Vegas, and I like Vegas because Vegas was a lot cheaper, of course, to live in. So I went to Vegas, opened up a couple studios, worked in some studios in Vegas, and so that's where I'm at now, in between Vegas, Columbus, Georgia, back home in Miami, still working in Houston. I just spoke to Mr. Nose maybe like a week ago, getting
Hmm.
ready to do some industry kind of symposiums for like different smaller cities throughout the country that don't necessarily have a music infrastructure, but can definitely use one because a lot of the I'm not gonna say just young kids, young people. There's a bunch of talent out there, people who are 15 all the way to 50, but a lot of times they don't know quite the avenues to get the music out there. And we're at the age in music technology right now where you can put a record out there and you're the next Teddy Swims or somebody.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
Absolutely.
How do you
Yep.
feel about that as far as like certain artists that are just more popular versus talented artists that are not really known? Like, how do you feel about that?
well, I'm gonna tell you like this, and
Oh,
this
that
is
I
good
the
saw.
question.
industry. The industry is not always the talented person that gets the shine or the glory. It's the person who kind of works the hardest. Because sometimes if you look at the way the industry is, a lot of people out there, no knock on any of the artists that's having success, but usually if you look at a lot of the artists right now, they might not be the most talented, but what they did was they just outworked everybody.
Right.
That's the key nowadays. Back in the day, I'm not gonna lie, you had to have it. You know what I'm saying? But of course, the internet and the way that we do digital music and digital content wasn't as big. It was just getting its feet. So now when you have people who have talent, a lot of people rest their morals and the way they're going to get in the industry strictly on I'm just talent. I can just out sing everybody. I can out rap everybody. If somebody gonna cut me a check, while you sitting there doing that, it's a young a guy or a girl somewhere that probably don't sing as well as you, but guess what? They gonna get out there and hustle. Their social media is buzzing. They know how to move around their city. They know how to move outside their city. They know how to make sure that their faces is in some of these industry events. They know how to go out and spend their own money and create content. So just sitting home and waiting for it to knock on your door. I'm not gonna say it doesn't happen, but the ones who are out there really busting their hump and really trying to get to it, they usually don't have to wait for it to knock on their door. They're gonna go kick it in themselves.
Right.
Facts.
That's what's up.
Facts.
T-Berry, I just want to say real quick, it's finally good to see you on here. I've spoken to you a whole bunch of
Oh yeah,
times.
yeah, we spoke on the phone a bunch, John. For real,
And by the
man. I'm
way, the
glad to see
movie,
you.
I think the movie was called "It Fighting Temptations." Is
There
that the
you
one you're
go.
talking?
Exactly. Exactly, man.
That
Another and that just goes to this goes back to a conversation I was having with someone about the music industry. The music industry is not it shouldn't be your ceiling if you're doing this as a an artist. Just doing shows or getting some streaming dollars should not be your ceiling because there's so much more to this industry. Like we already know how big and product and endorsement and branding is. Like branding for a lot of artists is how a lot of these artists are really getting to the millions is their branding. It's not necessarily they're overly gifted. Their branding and their hustle has got them at a point where you have big corporations don't want to miss out when you have a huge branding machine behind you because that branding machine equals consumers and equals dollars. So, you'll see a lot of these artists right now that have branding deals, and you want to know, why they're such big artists. Well, because they really branded and partner with certain products that just caters to their demographics or the region, and they're able to just expand from there.
Yeah, that is true.
Mm.
yes. So I have a question, because hip hop is so different than when we were, the 90s and 2000s.
Hmm.
The music was so different than what it is now. Like, how do you feel about the new trends in hip hop? How do you also like kind of navigate and stay, stay current with all of that?
Man, for me, I'm not gonna tell you no lie. What's going on in music, and this not to say I'm some goddamn futuristic producer, and I just told the future, 50, 20, 15 years before. But the music that I was doing, and if people would go back and listen to some of the tracks I was doing in like 2001, 2005, 2006, is what they're doing now. Because I've always thought that music, like I like records. I like records that had really like melodic structures and
Hmm.
and just wasn't just a sample and just 808 and some drums. It really had to have some other stuff going on. So what you're hearing now in music is it's just people just not afraid to stretch the envelope. And who's to say, like, if even if you got a cat from the hood that's a street rapper, what's wrong with him rapping over like an R&B kind of track? Like a lot of cats hear the R&B track and that's all they hear. And I have to tell them, like, okay, you hear the R&B track, but don't change up what you finna rap about. If you finna rap about something that happened on the block, rap over this track and let's watch how it evolves into something different. And that's what you're hearing. You're hearing a lot of cats is rapping about a lot of stuff over different kind of tracks that you normally would someone would say, okay, no, that wouldn't fit. But that's the evolution of music. So you're getting a lot of artists who have uh great melodic voices and like doing the R&B hip hop stuff, which I'm always a fan of. And they're not afraid to, I think, especially in the urban market, you put a techno beat on and, a lot of artists will run from it. Like, man, what that is, man? No hip hop. Oh, that ain't hip hop. That EDM, man. I ain't rapping that
Right.
white people, that white people club music. Okay, cool.
Until
Yeah.
the beat
Yeah,
drops.
yeah. That white people club music. Now rap that gangsta on it. Let me
Uh-huh.
go ahead and fix it up. And then guess what? This is the global record now.
Uh,
Just because you rapped over something that was EDM or trans or hip hop, this is a global record now. You still rapping what you talking about on the block in your neighborhood, but now it's got a beat that's a little different from the typical hip hop. And now we can go overseas with because guess what? They could play it at every EDM festival. You know what I'm saying? Things of that nature. So I try to tell artists, man, let's not pigeonhole ourselves to just feel like we just need to rap over R&B and hip hop beats. Man, stretch the envelope. Let's rap over some EDM. Let's rap over something that normally, people wouldn't consider to be, hip hop. So that's what I like about the industry. A lot of these youngsters are, they're not afraid to stretch the envelope. And then when I play like something like from my era, me being a real kid of the '80s, when I do a sample over that might be like the Police or Sting or Elder Bars or something like that, they were like they're not afraid to jump on it. I just seen a remix where Big Boogie's rapping over "Let's Groove Tonight," Earth, Wind and Fire, and it's jamming,
oh,
jamming. You know what I'm
you're
saying?
gonna have
But
to send us that.
yeah, the Big Boogie over Earth, Wind and Fire is, I mean, most of the kids his age weren't even born. You know what I'm saying? When that record came out, I probably was like 7 years old. I remember my mom and dad playing it. That's one of Earth, Wind and Fire's like staple songs. And then I don't know if he actually rapped over it, or did a remix, or they mashed it up. Whatever it is, it's jamming. Now it's all over the internet. Now
Nice.
it done caught fire on the internet.
I
So
like when they do that. I like when they take classics and reinvent it in a sense or use it as
yeah,
a tool.
they do the remixes and the mashup. They just had the y'all get a chance listen to the country song over the Twister beat. Oh
And
my
then it
god.
does something to your soul because you grew up listening to that
Oh
track.
yeah.
Here comes somebody redoing
Way
whatever.
younger, and I'm like, man, what they know about that? And
Yeah,
then
it kind of tugs
it's a
on your heart a little bit. You're like,
yeah, winds up being a big record, man. So the industry, I mean, I like the way the industry is evolving. I still see a lot of the pitfalls in the industry, whereas artists still have the tunnel vision of just wanting to get a deal. When they get the deal, no one wants to continue to work or
or they
you,
realize the deal wasn't what they thought.
yeah, exactly. And then the industry, like I tell artists, this is the music business. The word business is bigger than the word music. But you also got to remember there's never going to be a deal in your favor when you're dealing with the majors. Because at the end of the day, let's keep it 100. The majors are taking all of the financial risk. So, of
Right.
course, the deal is going to be in their favor. But as an artist, you have to then take whatever the deal you able to live with. Like if you say, like, man, look,
I'm glad you
I
put it
I, I
that way.
need I need this $80,000 right now. I know it's a
Now.
shitty deal,
I'm
but
glad you put it that way.
but
Still
guess what? I need this right now. But then what are you gonna do with the deal? Because okay, think about it. If you had a deal with Sony Music or Universal or Warner Brothers, you now take that deal and you work it to your advantage. You get into if two artists were to walk into a radio station, if one artist was an independent artist with no deal and the other artist had a deal with Warner or Sony, who do you think they're going to give most of the attention to?
yeah. The
The
one
one
with
with the deal.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Now it's on you to work it. You go through that door. It's a key to open the door. It might be some pieces and components that you now have to put together in order to turn it to money, but it is there. You know what I'm saying? So some artists get the deal and they just sit on it. They don't know how to get in there and work it. You got to move around with it. I mean, internet and social media is great, but I think now it becomes a crutch because that's all people wanted to rely on. You know,
It,
when I got signed to Slip and Slide in 2007, we were still going from cities, promotion, Lex promotions, putting up posters and going to different cities,
Mhm.
throwing
not
putting flyers on cars. You feel me?
yeah, but now it's like people see the industry and they're like, "Oh, I can just record a song and put it out," but then they forget all the
Other
registration,
stuff.
the
And
other
and
stuff.
and and sometimes it works out. You wind up getting a hit out of it. But then what happens when it's time for that second record or that third record?
Mhm.
And
I
you
had an
you you don't
artist.
know how to really go out there and make it happen. So you
Yeah,
wind up being one of them one hit wonders that weren't able to capitalize. And the one hit wonders is just someone who wasn't able to capitalize. It's just that they didn't have anything else in the tank. They just didn't plan. Like, once you get
yeah,
that first record, you got to continue working. People kind of
and get your
knocked
paperwork
Drake.
right.
Yeah, people kind of knocked Drake. It was a whole rumor that Drake was having people write for him and this, that, and the third. And I'm gonna say, okay, well, you find me one artist back in the any era, any era from Motown that didn't
Mhm.
have someone writing for him. It's just the hip hop puts this. I don't know what to call it. They put this stigma like as a rapper or whatever it is you're doing in the industry, you got to write your own stuff. I don't believe in that. If you can write, cool. If you can't write, that's fine. We can find some writers. But if you look at the history of music, I mean, you can probably count on one hand, maybe two hands, the number of songs out of all the songs that Michael Jackson recorded, how many that he actually wrote.
I was
Right.
about to say Michael Jackson too.
Michael, Rod Templeton, Smokey Robinson, Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder has been writing for Michael since he was 9.
Yep.
Rod Templeton wrote all of his stuff from Thriller and Off the Wall, that stuff, and Quincy Jones has been writing for Michael, since his teen years, all the way up
Mhm.
until when he's a superstar. You had Teddy Riley and the Pharrells and the people. I don't have a problem with that, and I think that's a stigma. A lot of cats I've talked with from the East Coast, yeah, but that's part of the hip hop being an MC. That's fine. That's
Mm,
fine if that's
I
what
mean,
you feel.
I think
But when you get into this music business, you can miss me with that because
yeah,
at the end of the day, if you can't put out a product that will sell, you will no longer be on someone's label. And if
it,
your goal is to just be an MC and just want to rock the clubs and all that, you can't knock someone who's a rapper who helps them. I mean, most of your big records have, if you look at the real credentials and
Mhm.
credits on a lot of big records, there's probably at least 10 people on that record.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
So T Berry, I just want to ask, who is? I know you worked with half the industry, but who's on your bucket list? Like who? The phone's
My
going
bucket
off.
list. If
Yeah.
I had, from a
who's left
producer
on
from a
it?
producer standpoint, I have two bucket lists. From a producer standpoint, it's definitely gonna be Dr. Dre. It's
Oh,
definitely gonna be Timberland,
mhm.
Mm,
DJ Quick. It's like
nice.
some of the producers I really grew up as in the hip hop realm. Um, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. I like to work with them. But from
Mhm.
the artist side, believe it or not, on the artist side, I would like to work with I want to work with a bunch of old artists like Shaka Khan.
Mm.
I wish I had a chance to work with Stevie Wonder. Um, uh, it's some obscure artists like um Sting from the Police. Who
All the
else?
upcoming artists.
Upcoming artists. Oh, upcoming artists. Believe it or not, I don't. I work with any of them.
No,
I
that
don't
was a
have
joke.
anyone that I
No, it was a joke.
prioritize.
They know.
I don't have any
Yeah.
that I really prioritize. I think they're all
Yeah.
dope, and if I have a chance to work with any of them, I think it'll be dope because I think I bring something different. And there is a bunch of them that's extremely talented, and I can see where just me having an opportunity to work with them, I see like okay, I could see where they have some things about them that no one has picked up on yet. You know what I'm saying? And I try to bring that out, and some different productions, writing styles, just a different make a left instead of making the right turn all the time. Let's make a left and see what we get.
Right.
Absolutely.
What's your favorite music door that you use?
Say it again.
Your favorite music door?
Pro Tools, man. Pro
Ah,
Tools. I know that's a big debate going online right now. Everybody, Pro Tools
between
not the
Logic
industry.
and Pro Tools.
Pro Tools is the industry standard because it was one of the ones that every studio had to have. If
Right.
you didn't have Pro Tools in your studio, you mean you were kind of missing out on a lot of work. So Pro Tools is the industry standard. I don't care what no one else says. That's the industry standard for a long time. But I don't knock any other DAWs that people use, Fruity Loops and Logic and uh I don't knock any of it. There's a bunch of them out there. They all have their own purpose, but and I've used all of them. But Pro Tools to me is I'm not the only knock I get for me using Pro Tools because I'm one of the few producers who produce in Pro Tools. I've had producers like Scott Storch and Jim Johnson like, nah, you can't, you don't. There's no way you're producing this in Pro Tools, and I'm like, yeah, I do. So the DAWs are great. Plugins are great. AI is something that I try to use as another tool, but I've watched other people use AI, strictly AI, literally don't do anything but punch in some AI commands and AI comes up with these beats and they stamp their name
How
on
do
it,
you feel about that? How do you
I,
feel
I
about
don't
that
I don't like
musician?
it. I don't
Huh?
like it. I don't
Right.
like when people strictly use AI to do everything.
Right.
Yeah, because then it's not you.
Mm-hmm.
It's not you. Like if you use AI to produce maybe some horn sounds or some string sounds, okay, cool. And then you build around that, then it's you. But when AI does all of the work and you did nothing but say, hey, play me some horns and play me some strings and play me some drums. I mean, how's that putting any of the energy that you have inside you on a track when you just told AI to create it, you know? So I like AI. I think it's gonna be one of those things that we have to it's gonna be a gift and I don't want to say a curse, but people gonna have to realize like, hey, this can't be the norm. Like
The norm,
AI cannot be the
exactly.
norm, man. Can't be the norm because then after a while, AI everything's gonna sound the same. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
'cause AI is only going to put out what people tend to put in it,
Yep.
and it can't think like it doesn't know how I think. You know, it might be able to mimic a track, but the next morning I get up, I might feel different. It doesn't know how I feel when I wake up on Thursday after a night at the club, and I decide to make a track. You know, so it might come up with something totally left field, and AI doesn't. It can't determine that. So I choose to use it sparingly. In creating just different things that I figure it's good at.
All right, I got a question for you, my man T Berry.
Go ahead.
Um, back in the day, real quick, Tasha, check the private chat. But back in the day, um, I was rocking down Miami, man. So salute to
Hmm.
Miami, salute to you. I was with
Hmm.
Uncle Luke, man. I think I know you, man, because
Hmm.
I was down there when Cool One and DJ Cool One was at University of Miami Irvine.
Oh
When
yeah.
I taught him how to make beats, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I brought my look. I'm gonna bring you back to the people I was affiliated with. Uncle Luke,
Hmm.
Rude Boy Entertainment, and
Hmm.
then we started On Point Entertainment. Do you remember On Point?
Yeah, I remember On Point.
That's
I
me.
remember On Point.
That's me, baby.
I
I know
you
I
know what?
I
And
know I
then
knew you. I knew I
yeah,
knew you.
look. So we used to always there used to be what year when you were down there? That was
91, 92.
91, 92. So I came home from college in 92. Well, I actually got hurt playing college ball in 92. Come home, I went back and came back. But we used to go to at the time place called Studio Center,
Yeah.
was in Miami Lakes. That's a big major studio everybody used to go to.
Yep.
And then of course you had, Uncle Luke's spot over at the Pac Jam, a bunch of
Hmm.
studios, Hit Factory
Yeah. Hit
and
Factory.
Vision Studios in North Miami Beach. And that's where like Lil Jon and everybody used to go to Vision Studio. That was kind of like one of the staple studios. But yeah, I remember. Now that you bring that up, I remember like those names. And
Absolutely.
the crazy thing about it is, mm, if you look at where Miami hip hop has came from, everybody just saying it was just Miami based to now you look at, I mean, Miami has a bigger global platform than where it started at, and bringing over just R&B, hip hop, EDM, just a bunch of just dope stuff, and a lot of people that moved to Miami. They moved there because of the culture. I mean, it's Miami is not just bass music, because we got, you got Dominicans, Cubans,
Mm-hmm.
everybody from the Caribbean. So you was in '92 back when they used to really do the real Caribbean Fest and Bayside. You know what I'm saying? When the real reggae fest used to be at Bayside, man. When you had like everybody used to come to the Caribbean Fest. So and then
Absolutely.
we used to have we used to have this thing. Rest in peace, Uncle Al.
Yeah.
It was called Splashdown. So I
Mm-hmm.
remember at this particular Splashdown on Key Biscayne
Yeah.
Beach. This was like one of the last ones, and this is a crazy lineup. That lineup consisted of Outkast had just dropped their first album. Outkast, Biggie, Tupac, and Method Man. That was that lineup for that splashdown. I
Crazy.
remember Method Man jumping in the audience and someone taking his chain.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Wow.
yeah, Pac had just did the Tupacalypse was his first project, so he had those. He was just coming out.
Mhm.
The beef with Biggie and Pop wasn't even back then. It was they were
It
even
was working
beefing.
together. Yeah, they was working together.
Biggie. I distinctly remember Biggie getting on the stage and at the stage, and he did the what was his big record when he first came out, over the Juicy Fruit beat.
Yeah.
Um, uh, Whatever his first record was, over the Juicy Fruit beat, and he was performing and he was moving all over the stage, and Biggie took like he had to take like a breath. He was like, "Oh, wait a minute, man, I'm out of breath, man. Wait a minute."
Where you got the sound effects
Biggie
from?
hadn't got
Oh.
tired. Biggie hadn't
Rest
got
in peace,
tired up
by the
there,
way.
man.
Rest in peace
Yeah,
to
That's
his
yeah.
wife.
so cool that you can have stories like that, man. Like,
Yeah, we were backstage with Uncle Al, and again, this is like the start of the catalyst for my music career, and I remember that lineup because Outkast had don't you play about don't you, we gonna get you high, Cadillac music, funky, whatever that
Yeah.
long ass title was. So yeah, it was a dope concert, and all of those artists were new. They had big records out. They were just like the singles, but they
Yeah.
came and performed at the Splashdown, and all of them. I was like, man, all the people that was on that lineup wound up being like icons. You know what I'm saying, on that stage, that you wind up being like, man, I listened to them first when they first was getting in and getting on, and it's amazing to see artists that have that kind of longevity, and you watch them just progress into who they are now, especially when I think we're all the same age, from Pac, the Big Boy, and Andre from Outkast, Biggie, Method.
Yeah.
We're all around the same age when they were starting. So for me, trying to wanting to be in that kind of industry, just to see them guys make it, it was just a continuous like grind. I was like, yeah, because everyone tells you like, man, this is dope. I was like, man, I got to figure out how I get it out there. How do I get what I'm doing a little further? And that's when I just started just spending my own money to go to New York, go to LA,
Right.
go to Atlanta, and just get into the mix. And it's crazy. Speaking of legacy artists, I just got off the phone with how many of you guys remember Dana Dane?
Oh yes.
Everybody,
And
man.
the fella Dana
Yeah.
Dane. I just got off the phone with him because I got a good friend of mine. I call him my little brother. He does shows out here in Columbus, Georgia. So I called Dana and told him we want to put him on the Soul Fest show. Because I
Nice.
just heard his record on one of these XM stations, and I said, let me call Dana Dane, man, and ask him if he's still doing shows. So just to see like the evolution of music is spectacular, and I know is right now it's just there's no ceiling to it. Right now, I'm working with Sony right now in the immersive audio field. So immersive audio is basically three-dimensional audio for music. The same way
Mhm.
you have 3D for your VR glasses and television and movies. So this immersive audio is the same thing. I've been working with them for like the last 3-4 years. I was at the NAM event a couple of weeks ago, and I spoke on the panel for the immersive audio, and I'm really trying to get a lot of urban artists are missing the immersive audio because they a lot of them don't understand it. But if you go back, not this year's Grammy, last year's Grammy, Alicia Keys won best immersive audio R&B album
Mm.
for an album that she did 10 years ago.
Oh wow.
They just went back and did the mixes on it for the
Wow.
immersive audio. So now I'm trying to get all of these young artists, whether it's Boss Man D-Lo or Sexy Red or Glorilla, to get these mixes done because those mixes a lot of artists don't understand. Like, okay, you have your regular two track mix that's on Apple and Spotify, and the immersive audio is another different mix that pays a lot more. That's a higher
Oh,
royalty
wow.
rate for immersive audio because immersive audio you have to have only certain DSPs can play immersive audio.
Okay.
And then you have certain like certain home systems. You got a lot of headphones right now that'll play it. And so but what's big about immersive audio is I don't know if any of you guys are gamers. You probably got kids that are gamers, and they playing that Call of Duty or Grand Theft Auto, and it sounds like the gunshots are in the house. They mix a lot of those sound effects and that stuff in the immersive atmosphere. So that's what
Ah,
I'm doing. So that's what I'm doing with the music right now is just producing and then mixing these records in immersive audio so they can get placements in these video games and shows because that's where it's going pretty soon the music will have to catch up with the visuals and you having
Right.
so many just outlandish visuals and 3 dimensions and 4 dimension and
Well,
all this
that's where
stuff
the
going
world's
on.
going.
and do you
That's where
get
the
that
world.
just using different stems? Because you said a two-track mix. So with the
Okay,
stems,
yeah,
is it
yeah. So the immersive audio mix is different because it uses well it starts out as wave stems,
right,
but then when you convert it, those waves are turned into MP4 files, which are movie files.
right?
Hmm.
And those movie files are then entered into a sphere, a software that I then manipulate them there to create the immersive atmosphere. You have to, the Sony has two immersive studios. One is in Los Angeles that I use, and the other one's in New York. And that's where you go mix records at for the immersive field. And it's when you walk into it, it is like walking into a spaceship. There's speakers going in a circle above you. There's a wall of speakers in front, on the side, and in the rear, and when you sit in the middle of it and you hear it, like if there was a plane and that particular audio going, you would swear that plane was in that studio going over your head.
Yeah, it makes you feel like you're right there.
Exactly, right there. So what's going to start happening is once car manufacturers get to it to where immersive audio is in your car and you start to see it on a large scale in concerts, that's when you're going to truly see, you know what I'm saying, where it's going. Because think about it. Remember, like maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, everyone was doing the hologram shows. They have hologram. So think about when you go, when you put on your goggles, your VR goggles, and you're watching a show that's completely all in the virtual space, and you're seeing these 3 dimension concerts and the music to go with it. And it's gonna be like you're sitting in the middle of this concert without having to leave your home. You
That's
know,
awesome.
that's for people who don't like. If
Aren't
there's
they
a
already
concert in
doing
London,
that? Like with the little rooms,
yeah, yeah, exactly, they are.
doing that in a sense already.
Yeah, they're doing
Yeah,
that already, but
it's
it's right now it's still a work in progress because they're going to get it to the point to where they have studios that you can actually go shoot the whole concert at, but now you have to get the music to match because you have a great VR 3 dimensional concert, but the music is still 2 track. Still a stereo mix,
Hmm.
and you want it to definitely be in the immersive mix because the immersive mix is just how you would hear it if you were sitting at the middle of the concert.
Mm.
right.
Yeah, so yeah, that's where it's going next. So I mean, I did
I mean, they're
the
doing
music and entertainment
surgeries
business is moving,
with it. They're doing
but
surgeries already with VR and everything. They
yeah,
just in England they separated twins that were joined by the head with VR. So
exactly, exactly. So when you think about I mean, when you think about the human senses, all of it comes into play. Even when you're surgeons, there's certain things they got to listen for to make sure that there's any some complications because there's certain things you can hear, even when in your own life. You think about it. I remember when the coronavirus was big, I got it and I was laying on my side and I can hear my lungs sounding funny.
Mm-hmm.
So you think about in the space that we're in now in entertainment, when those small, just minute sounds that make up what you hear in your house. So if you're watching a movie, so think about if you're watching a movie, it's a scary movie, and you're watching someone in the kitchen, and the knife falls in the kitchen on the television, but it sounds like it's falling in the back of your kitchen.
That's
You
gonna
know,
be real scary.
exactly,
Interesting.
exactly. But it sounds like that knife is in your kitchen now. So,
Right.
so
Who's
that's
that?
that's gonna make the experience even more just crazy for the consumer. So that's what I'm doing with Sony. So we're trying to bring all of that to the urban side with the music, because
I really
I
like
think a
the
lot of
house.
people don't really know how big gaming is. Like, really, I ain't gonna lie to you, gaming is probably edges out music on dollars spent. Gaming
I
is
agree. I
gaming
agree.
is phenomenal. They have in Vegas, they have a e-gaming center. Like, you can go there and bet on games. It's and then you go to the new Sphere. I don't know if you guys been to that new Sphere in Vegas.
We got one
Uh,
in Dallas now.
they got one in
Oh,
Dallas.
something like that. They're trying to build one or something like. They're trying to get
Yeah,
casinos over here.
and guess what? So the Sphere is gonna have eventually they're gonna have the immersive audio in that. Because if you're watching a concert or a movie in 3 dimension and it's surrounding you 360, you kind of want the audio to go along and match it. So that's what's next, man. So I mean, I like music and technology. I kind of don't want people to just depend on the computer doing everything for you, because then the music isn't really you no more.
Right.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I
Well,
was saying earlier, by the way,
evolution
we
of
were talking
sound.
about Biggie. Rest in peace to Miss Wallace, who passed away yesterday.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Quentin
Dr.
Biggie.
R.I.P.
Dre, everybody, Irv Gotti,
Irv, yeah, yeah, man. We
a lot
having
of
a lot
people
of
missing.
greats, a lot of the greats, man. I'm kind of it's kind of crazy that you see a lot of the greats pass, but then you have to think about all of the things that it contributed
Right.
to the game. I ain't gonna lie to you. Irv and Murder Inc. was, I mean, they had it. They
Huge.
for a good little minute, man. They were that label. And what Ja Rule and Ashanti were doing was phenomenal. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm trying to recreate that, because I see music today. One knock I do have on music today, and it's all a lot of it's done with you know technology and everybody wanting to be this super individual, and you don't wind up getting those. You don't get we don't have a Ashanti Ja Rule kind of team. The last groups we had was Ray Shrimmer and the Migos,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't really think it serves the industry well when you have everyone just wants to do everything by themselves, and it doesn't. I mean, groups
We live in
groups
a me
groups
me world
brought.
now.
Say it again.
We live in a me me world. Everyone.
Yeah, yeah. Everybody just wants everything to be about them, and
Right.
me personally, I like groups because groups brought a groups brought two fan base, or if you had three artists, they brought three fan base. Because when you think about, like, with Run DMC, it was three people. Me personally, I was a Jam Master Jay fan. People will probably Run DMC. So when you go to a show, you was going there because you really you mess with Run DMC, but I was really there because Jam Master Jay was just dope to me. Same thing with Outkast. You had people who were Big Boy and people who were Andre. You know what I'm saying? So they bought their core fans came out, but they had a group of people who like those two individuals in the group. Same thing with New Edition. Like New Edition, like everybody had a certain thing. Some people liked it Bobby, some people liked it Ralph. I don't think nobody really cared for Johnny until he became solo. Johnny Gill was like the oddball out. Everybody think he couldn't dance. I thought it was dope. But
Yeah.
that's the thing with music today. Everybody's just like you say, it's a me, me, me. Everybody wants to be self, and that's not. I mean, I'm not saying that you can't get good music like that, but most of the music that came with groups, because you got two or three or four or five different energies pouring into that song, and you wind up having something. Usually those records usually become iconic. They usually become records that you can play forever and ever and ever.
Speaking of iconic, I'm the king of segue, right? So
Hmm.
we have a thing that we do on here, and I'm gonna let Austin introduce it to you. Here you go.
TBerry, yo, it's been a pleasure and a privilege talking to you.
Yes, sir.
Uh, this is the part of the show where we have a game. We call it playtime. Now,
Okay.
spin a wheel. We have 6 songs on the wheel.
Mm.
Whatever number it lands on, that's the song that you explain. But you got to tell us what you was doing at the time the song was out. Where
Okay.
was you? And if you choose to, your most embarrassing moment. And
Okay.
how did that one song change the way that you look at music today? Now,
Okay.
if you
Cool.
choose to accept it, this is what the mission is. It's up to you.
Okay. Got you. Yeah, I accept the mission.
All right.
Go.
All right.
So who's gonna tell me the song?
There's a wheel.
No,
Yeah.
it's a
Okay.
wheel.
Okay. There you go.
Oh, we got music.
All right. What is it? I can't see. That's
Young
tiny.
Jeezy, leave you alone.
Young Jeezy. I think I was okay when that record came out. First of all, when Young Jeezy, story behind Young Jeezy, before I get up too far, of course. This would have been, I forget what year, maybe 2005 or somewhere up in there when he first came out. So he came out with the compilation CD, USDA or something to that effect, and they were marketing it in Miami. Believe it or not, bruh, they were throwing Jeezy CDs on the ground. No one wanted to hear it. No one. I picked one up and I listened to it in my car, and I was like, "Man, this jamming, man!" And lo and behold, like a year and a half later, like Snowman was the man.
Absolutely.
So that record was, man. Let me see where I was. At that time, man, I was so engulfed in my music career and trying to just get on, but I was still a fan of a lot of music that was coming out. So that particular record, I probably was. Oh, that was uh, South Beach, Memorial Day weekend, all that kind of stuff. So I probably was on the beach somewhere. The production is what I love the production that Jeezy had from Shorty Red and Toomp and all of those guys. So it was it just continued to fuel me to just push the envelope when it came to music. I thought that production on that particular song and that album that it came off of was dope. I don't think I had anything embarrassing that happened to me at that time. No, I was on the beach a bunch when a lot of the celebrities was there and that record was out, and uh I don't know if it was Puffy and the Brat or somebody was on a scooter, and it was a bunch of them. I don't know if someone fell off,
we're gonna
but it was a
we're gonna
bunch
keep
of them on scooters.
we're gonna keep
I
we're gonna
remember
keep
that
that
much.
story for another time. We're gonna do
Right.
another one. Here we go. Number 2. 3
3-6
6
Mafia.
Mafia.
All right.
Mafia, half on a sack.
Oh, 3-6. Where was I on that? Oh, I remember the record. I couldn't tell you where I was on it, but 3-6 Mafia was like 3-6 Mafia was one of them groups. So in Miami, we have certain songs that we turn up on. That
Okay.
3-6 Mafia was definitely one of them records that got the like the club kind of certain DJs, club owners would tell DJs not to play certain records. And so 3-6 like, nah, don't play that record. It's guaranteed a fight to come out. So not that
Right.
particular record, but a lot of 3-6 Mafia records, like when they come on, Mafia, yeah. Oh, it was about
Yeah.
to, oh yeah, Cass was about to get it in. So
Uh-huh.
that
All right.
particular record, I don't have many memories on that one.
All right. Let's move on then. We got another one.
Okay.
Let's go. Uh, uh. Pastor Troy, vice versa.
Oh man. Man, let me tell you something, man. That is by far my favorite record from P. Troy. And I know P. Troy. Me and him, I've tried to do a few joints with P. Troy back when I met Pete Troy at the last Source Awards. The last Source Awards they was in Miami. Um, Vice Versa was like I ain't gonna lie to you. Vice Versa was one of them records that I listened to one because it was a real message that Pete Troy was talking about, and he was spitting some real. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He was giving you consequences of, it's streets, you know what I'm saying? And the video was dope, but the production was just insane. I actually redid that sample over, but that
Nice.
was a dope sample, man. That was one of them records that dark melodic stuff I started getting into. Pastor Troy was Bone Thugs and Harmony, a lot of those dark records that just even though they were dark and kind of eerie, they just did something to you. And that Vice Versa was that was a dope record from Pete Troy, man. Dope record. Yeah, I met Pete Troy at the last Source Awards. Um, Pete Troy, and then I met another guy. Y'all might not know who this guy is, but Granddaddy South wound up being my good friend, man. So Granddaddy South
Salute.
was on. Granddaddy South was on. He was on Steve Riskin had a label called SRC,
Yeah.
and that was Granddaddy South, David Banner, Akon, and T-Pain, and Terror Squad. They were
Yep.
on SRC. So at the last Source Awards we had in Miami, Pete Troy was there. Granddaddy South had an incident. I think he wound up getting beat up by the police or something.
Oh wow.
And yeah, it made the news. And then, but this is my one of my. I had two fond memories at this last Source Awards. The first one was uh they had did a remix for Lean Back. It was for Fat Joe's Lean Back. So they performed at the Source Awards. It was like everybody was on it. Lil Jon was on the remix, but while they're doing the Fat Joe's performance on stage, I'm off to the left of the stage, and I like turn around and all I see is this like big huge picnic blanket with arms. And I was like, who's this? So my cousin, Elora Mason, who was like she's like one of the well-known publicists in Miami, and she helped kind of did a lot of stuff for the Source Award when it was down there. And she was like, we need to get you in a picture. And I was like, all right, cool. I was like, man, what the dude is with that big old picnic cloth on? There's a red and black shirt, big old, all I can see is his back. And he turns around and it's Suge Knight. It was Suge. And Suge was like, hey, man, I hear them beats you be doing. He's got the big old cigar in his mouth. Yeah, we're going to have to do some beats. Come over here, let's take a picture. So, and that was the first, and then my second experience, I tell you no lie, man. I'm coming out the back of because the Source Awards was at the Miami Arena. I'm
Right.
coming out the back of the arena. There's Jaheim, CeeLo Green, and somebody else at the back door. And I spoke to them. And I come around a corner and walking up to me, like giving me a hug. And she was like, hey, I'm about to get you. It was like I had my real industry crush. It was Erica Badu. Oh my goodness, man. I had this big old boy. You talking about like I was back in
Beauty.
like I was like in sixth grade again, man.
I
And
want to
she
meet
was
her.
Man, I'm looking at Erica Badu in the face, the more pretty eyes, man. I was like, hey, Miss Badu. She's like, oh, that's my. I tell everybody, I say, man, to see her in person, but I see what Andre and them. I see what happened. I can see what happened.
That's dope, man. We
Yeah.
appreciate you being on the show, man. We got a few words for you from our lovely Tasha. Go ahead, take it out, Tasha.
Yeah, no, we just want to thank you for being here. Honestly, we really appreciate your time, and we want to know, we're all about hearing about the past and
Mhm.
going through all of that and having fun with it. But we also want to know what you're doing now. So if you could just kind of tell everybody where the audience can find you.
Okay.
Yeah, and what you're
Yeah.
doing.
So right now, what I'm doing, I'm still producing R&B and hip hop. I've dabbled into the country, Southern soul, blues market, which is a huge market with with King George and all those guys. So I have a fabulous artist that, like I said, I coached him and my little brother back home in Miami, but he's out here in Georgia. Medallion Ty is doing these. We're doing some great country like urban songs. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm still out here rocking. I'm into film and television, still producing music for film and TV. The deal with Sony Orchard, with me and my business partner Troy. Also the what I'm doing with Sony as far as the immersive music. So that's where I'm at, man. I'm looking to expand. So any of you guys have my information, you have some people that have some talent, send me their music, man. I'm the kind of producer that I don't shy away from much. You know what I'm saying? So if it's someone you got talent in New York, New Jersey, New Hampshire, I don't care where they at. Let's see how we can work, because I'm an advocate of people putting music out, man. You never know what. Back in the day, you put a record out, you'd have to be platinum artist before it got to Japan and the
Yeah.
UK. Now your music is available to everybody in the world as soon as you hit send. You
Right.
know, so that's where I'm at. Let's take advantage of it. Let's take advantage of it.
Where can everybody find you at, TBerry?
So my social media is TBerry Mr. Beat Something. So Mr. So it's TBerry TBerry, and then it's Mr. MR, and then Beat Something BeatsumThin. So TBerry. It's on my Instagram. And it's the same on my Facebook is TBerry Berry, and then I also have a website, Beat Something Music.
Okay.
I mean, but you find me on Instagram. If you find me on Instagram, hit me up in the DM. I always answer my DM.
Yeah, we
I'm one
all
of
we
those
all did
people.
that for you. We got you on
Yeah,
Instagram.
yeah,
Everybody
Yeah.
locked in.
yeah, yeah. I'm always open to whatever's out there, man. Talent wise, shows, ideas, whatever y'all. If y'all need me for, y'all need a new show intro, some music done, man. Hit me up, man. I like staying. I'm working, so I'm at my boy's house here in Georgia. So I stay. I have my studio with me at all times.
Nice, nice, nice.
Wow.
Ah,
So
For
I'm
for the
always
people out
I'm
there,
always working.
nice.
I'm
I'm in
always
that. I'm
working.
in Atlanta. Are you in Atlanta? I'm in
Yeah, I'm in Columbus. I'm right across the street.
Okay.
Right across the street.
All
Hour away.
right.
Hour and a half away. So we definitely need to link up. Anybody else
Yes.
close?
I'm in
Where
Texas.
I think.
Hey,
where's
come
everybody
visit
else at?
Erica over here in Dallas. Come to
Okay,
Dallas.
D, yeah. I
I'm in
was when I
Tampa,
lived in
Florida.
Houston, I was down the street.
Nice.
Austin is in Georgia too.
Yep, I'm in
Yeah.
Atlanta with Tasha as well. So
Okay, yeah. We definitely need to link. As a matter of fact, we're getting ready. Like I said, my boy Ty, I call him my little brother. We're getting ready to start doing some industry networking events over here in Columbus, Georgia. I met with the some of the city officials. No, so they have a historical theater, like a bunch of the black artists used to come to back in the days. The Liberty Theater, I think. They're trying to revitalize that. And so what I told them I want to do is bring that infrastructure to Columbus. They have a bunch of talent over here. I just found out that Dallas Austin is from Columbus, Georgia.
Mm.
wow.
And
wow.
Joe the singer, Joe, he's from Dallas. He's
Oh.
from here.
Oh wow.
He's from here. So
Wow.
I'm just all about trying to put the infrastructure together, get some of these people out here to let's jump in there. Let's put something out. You never know what might happen.
Yeah.
It's too many outlets right now.
Yeah.
Any of you guys sing, let me know, man. Let's work.
We got a singer.
That.
I
Rosa
do.
Fox she's a singer.
Yes,
Yeah.
Who's
the
saying? Who that?
lovely
Hold
Rosa
on, hold on. Who's
Fox.
singing?
He ain't the
Hold
only
on. Who's
one.
singing?
He
Who
ain't the only
sings?
one.
I
Who
guess I'll see
sings?
you next lifetime.
Come on, yeah. That's that. Okay, where you at? Where you at? You in A?
Now I'm gonna hit you up in the DM. I also produce as well, so
Okay,
that's
cool.
what
Let's get it.
I'm
Let's get it, man. I love working, man. I have no problem traveling. I have my own Sprinter van, so I go wherever.
all right, no doubt. I'll hit you up for sure.
I got to come out. I need to come out there to see. All right, let me put my disclaimer out there. If you live in a place that has cold climate, there's a great chance I'm only gonna see you in the summer.
I'm in Tampa, Florida now.
Hold on, wait a minute. I'm going to Tampa.
All right.
So all my who up there in New York? Who's in New York?
We all from New York. Well,
No, I'm
except
saying who live in New York now?
We live in New York. No, none
Nobody.
of us.
Nobody.
we live
Okay,
in New
cool.
York.
Oh,
Well, wait a minute.
Well,
Steve besides Steve.
John, the only
No,
one
yeah.
though.
Yeah.
Yeah, see John. I have to see John during the summer, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't do me and cold weather don't get along. I'm not gonna lie. I'm Florida
May
boy the
May
heart,
May
bro.
20
I'm
May
with you on that.
25th about 5. How about that?
Mhm.
Yeah. Me and you gonna have to get the summer thing going on, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Can't do the cold. But yeah,
No,
I
I know.
definitely look forward to continue to working
Yeah.
anytime y'all need me. I'm sorry Ty couldn't make it. Ty builds homes out here also, so he had something with some of his contractors he had to go tend to. But I definitely like to get him on here again at some point in time to talk with you guys and what he's doing with his music, with his events that he's doing out here. Definitely. So he has an event coming up August 30th. We right now tentatively we have George Clinton. We have George Clinton as the headliner, and then we're gonna have some more people. So
Nice, man. It was a pleasure talking to you, T-Berry.
man,
We
Yeah,
got,
man.
we got to
talking to you
close the
guys.
show
So
out.
much for coming
And we
on.
definitely gonna work.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, T-Berry.
All right. Salute,
All right,
T-Berry.
y'all.
Thank you,
Salute,
man.
man.
All
I talk with y'all. I got everybody locked into my DM. I'll be hitting y'all up.
All
All
right.
right.
right,
Okay.
man.
All right, y'all be good.
All
All
right.
right.
Peace.
And that was the playback.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, Tasha. Hey, Tasha.
What's up?
Get out of here.
I know. I moved my appointment back a little bit because I knew I wasn't gonna get out of here at no 12 o'clock on a dime.
Why can I not find him on anything?
Because you got to go T-Berry/Berry.
Ah, thank you.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, the
sent it to the.
one I
I sent
sent,
it
the
to
one I
the
sent
chat.
at first, that was a different guy. I messed
I
up.
sent it to the
That
chat.
was a movie producer.
Okay.
I sent
Yeah.
it to the chat. So
Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw it.
so you
Thank
I
guys
you.
see
followed
it.
him. I think I did anyway. I followed him.
Yeah.
All right,
But
y'all.
hold up. Listen.
Good chat.
What's up?
When?
He offered his services to us.
I know.
We gonna capitalize on that.
Oh yeah.
That's right. Let's
Yeah.
He
do
said
this.
he said intros. If y'all want to work with him on the music, we doing it all.
We're doing
Yeah.
it all.
Right.
Yeah.
Austin, good job, man. Good job.
Yeah.
Man, listen. This
Hey,
is what I
man.
do,
I
man.
love y'all.
This is what I do.
Besides eating waffles at the Korean Hotel in a
Hey, John, stop it, John. Stop it, John. Stop
Look,
it.
man, I love my team, man. I just want to see y'all
Yeah.
successful, man. Y'all successful, I'm
Okay.
successful. Let's get it.
Yeah, this
All
is
right.
a launching. This is a launching pad. We all gonna be all right. You know what I mean? So I'm looking forward to it. Y'all are awesome. I love y'all, and I'm sick.
Uh,
Oh,
Be careful.
Feel better.
Take
Feel better
yourself.
now.
I need to get a mask so I don't get my clients sick.
Right.
Right. That's right.
All right, y'all.
All
All
right.
right.
I love y'all.
Bye.
Later.
Bye. Thank